This is the Block Party, a Minecraft podcast, episode 127. We're your hosts, Bearded Sloth.
And Little C.
Get all our info at theblockpartymc.com.
Now let's get the block party started.
Yay, Little C! We get to do this again.
Yay, Bearded Sloth!
Yay! Woo! I'm
Yahoo!
excited. I'm trying to thaw out from the week. It's been kind of cold around here.
Yeah.
Everywhere I was.
It's just cold.
A good thing we got Minecraft to warm us up.
Yeah, turn on some RTX and 98 chunk view distance. My computer will warm the whole house up.
Oh, my computer definitely warms up. I can pretty much fry an egg on top of my laptop.
Well, there's the next block party video. How to fry an egg using Minecraft.
This could work.
Yeah.
Speaking of Minecraft, we're going to talk about it today.
That's what the podcast is about, isn't it?
Yeah, pretty much.
I didn't know that. Man, I must have shown up to the wrong studio.
You know what, though? Nobody wants to hear about what we want to talk about with Minecraft.
That's why we have comments.
So we get comments from
Wait, you
the
guys
listeners.
actually commented. Good job.
Yeah, a couple
Hey,
people
you guys
did.
get some stickers. Our first comment comes from Advisory Labs. Minecraft Burnout about to hit me hard. I can already feel it. 16-hour Jericho session. No!
Only 16 hours? Why are you
16 hours in one sitting.
Why are you slacking?
Get some help.
Yeah, you definitely need more time.
No, I don't think
Oh, not what you
16-hour
meant?
one session is fair.
Well, for
I don't know,
our
maybe
players,
sometimes.
that's probably pretty normal for a lot of our players, I'd say. I get on there and I see these names on there like all the time. And then I go and I'm like, oh, it must all be AFK time. No, it's not. 'cause
Welcome
we
back,
keep track
welcome
of
back,
that.
welcome back. Everyone's like, welcome back. And then they're like, no, we're not actually AFK. We just don't have lives, apparently.
Yeah, I don't know about that, but it's awesome. I love the activity level we have of season 5 of Jericho SMP.
Hopefully we can keep it going. Don't get burnout, Advisory.
Yeah, you can't get burnout. Now, I'll tell you, if you are getting burnout on something, go do something else. Go
Either
something out of your comfort zone.
Something different in Minecraft, or one of the tips I have, go play a different video game for like a week. Play a different game. You'll get inspiration, at least I do, from that game to do stuff in Minecraft.
Yeah, it's definitely a good way. I know, for instance, I might play City Skylines or something, right? And then I'm like, ooh, I want to build a city in Minecraft. Or I play Trucking Sim and I want to, I don't know, build roads and things like that. Right?
I got Star Wars Battlefront Classic on my computer, and I played that for a few days, just grinding that out. And then I went to Jericho and I built an AT-AT. So
Is it AT-AT or AT-AT? This was a debate.
this was a
on
debate.
Jericho.
I don't know. Now we have to go back and watch all the Star Wars movies, every Star Wars show, the Clone Wars series, just every Star Wars piece. And Advisory here in chat says AT-AT.
Yeah, he's very adamant about it being AT-AT and not AT-AT. I've always called it AT-AT, and I'm from the generation from not the originals, but when they remade it,
When the
I was like a
prequels-
teenager
When the
then.
prequels came out, you were alive.
Well, that too, but
yeah.
even when they redid
Yeah.
the Star Wars, that was about my era, when they made them better, the deleted scenes and whatnot.
No, not the deleted scenes.
They're kind of weird to me. I still go back to the original ones.
The Star Wars Christmas special, best piece of history
But
ever.
this isn't a Star Wars show
No.
here. As much as I love
The
to
Block
talk about
Party, a Star Wars podcast, apparently.
it. That could be fun. But you did. You built an AT-AT, or as we call it, an AT-AT, in Minecraft on Jericho,
Yep.
based on the other video game you were playing.
Yeah, well, yeah. I was going to build a Star Destroyer.
That
But
could be fun.
I didn't have enough blocks to just fill the sky up with it and then have a place to build it on. So maybe I'll build that later. I'm just building an entire Imperial fleet just going into Shopping District.
I do have some ideas for things like that can definitely happen at spawn. All right. Well, anyways, Advisory Labs, thank you for commenting. Make sure if you're listening to this podcast right now, hit the pause, join our Discord, and go leave a comment for next week's show before you forget, everybody.
Or email us.
Or email us. That's even better. And we did get an email from one of you.
Whoa.
It was Schoolminer123. Thank you for emailing us. I love those. and they're so easy to get on here. It's just nice. Anyway, School Miner says, so one time, a little after 1.20 came out, I was playing a single player world I created when I killed my first ever Enderman. Anyway, I was entering my first house when I was suddenly 5 damage points lower than I was before. I then went on to discover that the only ender pearl I had was gone. As it turns out, I had been one single pixel off from the door and had accidentally thrown the only ender pearl I had ever gotten. Still looking for Enderman.
The amount of times I've accidentally thrown ender pearls is comical.
They can be dangerous. They'll put you in some crazy
Especially
places.
in Bedrock Edition. If you throw one and hit a wall, that's a lot of damage.
Yeah, and you basically suffocate in the block?
No, you
or...
just hit it with so much force.
Oh, it's like you're transport, like moving fast
Yeah.
to it, like light speed or something. Well, that's an awesome story. I love stories like that. I love to hear what you listeners are doing in Minecraft, what you have done. Maybe you have a funny story from the past. I love to hear all that. I can imagine too, if you're not used to having it, the way I'm reading this is you might have had an ender pearl just laying around or something and you picked it up and didn't even know it, kind of thing, maybe. But Endermen should be fairly easy to find though, right? Like they just spawn.
They don't spawn a lot. They don't spawn as much as you think.
I remember
Especially
back in
in
the
the
day
overworld.
when I used to have to always look for them, I'd always go to the desert.
Yeah, I
Is
mean,
that
that doesn't
still
really
good?
matter.
No.
It's just the desert was flat. That's why we went there.
Well, another reason was it doesn't rain there. So they
Yeah.
don't get hurt or
The
anything
best
if
thing
it
is
starts
actually
raining.
those blue tree biomes in the nether are the best to get Enderman now.
Oh, yeah.
And if you get the Enderman into a boat, they can't teleport. I think. Don't quote me on this too much. If you die, I'm not responsible. But I think if you get them in a boat, they can't teleport and you can just kill them easily. So if you have an Enderman problem, there you go. Boats.
Boats are the answer. Unless you're in the boat and a drown gets in the boat with you, then that's not the answer, as I found out a couple weeks ago.
Will you stop talking about the drowns? They're not that scary.
I'm sad about it still. Thank you for that comment. Make sure you get your comments in. Again, email us. What is that email, little C?
contact@theblockpartymc.com.
Absolutely. Or if you can, join the Discord. That's where all the fun is.
So, not just those drown deaths a few weeks ago. Wasn't there a new incident?
Yes, there was. I may have 3 deaths now on Jericho SMP.
That's fine. I have 2 now.
Did I? So I thought you had 3 now.
Nope.
You have
I have
2?
2, but neither of them are real deaths. Like real as in like something I did. They were both to me sitting in a boat for too long and the server forgetting where I was.
I
and
will
then
say
moving.
this last death was definitely server related. Absolutely. A little bit of skill issue, but it was really bad.
But yours was to a creeper.
Yes.
Mine was to standing still and dying to fall damage.
Well, don't do that.
Well, I just combust. I just stand there and it's just too much and I just explode.
Well, all right. So let's get into what happened here. So I've been working on the server side of things. We've had weird, not really lag, but weird like rubber banding issues. And like you said, you got fall damage after you got out of a boat and then you moved a little bit and just weird things happening like that. So I wanted to try to fix it. That's who I am. If there's a problem, let's try to figure out what the cause is and let's rectify it. So that's what was happening. I changed some things. I wanted to test it. I was actually playing this week and I was walking back. I was at my base and I was basically running back to spawn. Well, I didn't have my bed on me because I had a bed near spawn where I was building something and I had something at my base, which is only about 400 blocks away from spawn. So not too far. I thought I could make it. There was other players on that were pretty much sleeping at night, so I knew I didn't have to probably worry about it. Well, apparently the other player didn't sleep quite quickly enough, and there was a creeper, and I'm like, oh, I can go get it. So I kind of went up to it, I kind of do the forward back thing, so you don't blow it up. And all of a sudden, basically my screen kind of froze up. And then next thing I know, the creeper was right on me, basically. And all my stuff scattered everywhere. So it was definitely like a lag type issue. And I know it was one of the settings I just changed, just trying something out. And I've since changed that back. So we don't have to worry about that one. Then, so I did have my spawn point set back at my base. So I started running so I could get all my stuff back. And I see this big creeper hole and there's XP laying on the ground, but none of my stuff was there. I'm like, oh, what is the server doing now, right? And I even said this in chat to one of the other players. Oh, I think I lost all my stuff, And I was really sad. I'm like, this is a major problem with the server.
Yeah, BS didn't care about all the lag and all these deaths that people are having to random stuff until he has it happen to him.
Well, that might be part of it, but we're not talking about that. So anyways, I'm like, oh, geez, I don't have any of my stuff. And I was really mad more about the calcite because I'm building a big thing at spawn and it requires tons of calcite. I had about 4 stacks on me. That's what I was really upset about losing. Not all my diamond gear and my diamond tools and everything, because that's all replaceable. That calcite's harder to get. And there is a limited supply of it. So anyways, I start running towards spawn. There was another creeper hole. So apparently somebody else got blown up too recently or whatever. And so I did find all my stuff. I got it all back. So that's all good. But yes, now I have 3 deaths in Jericho.
So my second death was pretty much the same as my first, but my first death, I was in a boat. The server restarted, logged back in, and I was still in the boat. So I think that's more of the issue. And then I got out of the boat and the server just didn't know what I was doing. But this time it was weirder because the server never restarted. I never left or rejoined. I have an underground ice road on Jericho. And I was going and I was waiting for someone to get back to spawn. So I was just sitting in the boat, kind of, scrolling on my phone, waiting for him to get back to spawn. And then I decided to get out the boat. I start going up the bubble elevator. And then I just get back to where the boat was, rubber banded back, which is different than what happened on the last one. I was still in the new location and then I died. But on this one, I rubber banded back. But because I was going up the bubble elevator and getting far away, and was so far away, when I rubber banded back, the fall damage was a lot.
Now, I've made a lot of changes this week on the server, kind of go back and forth on the settings and whatnot. When that one happened, you were still having trouble with the chunks loading in as you went down the ice road.
Yeah.
And you're no longer having
that. That's completely gone away. Yeah, the ice road works amazing.
Okay, so there are settings. If you are a server owner out there, Bedrock dedicated server, make sure you play around with some of those settings for player movement stuff because it matters. And I think I fixed it. Are you getting much lag in general? I mean,
not
of course you're going to get some.
No, not really. I haven't even seen a little bit of lag.
Yeah, that's awesome. I'd love to hear from the other players too. I have asked our leadership, which we call peacekeepers in Jericho SMP, and they really didn't have too much to say on it, but I really would like to hear feedback. So if you are a player on Jericho, let me know. DM me. That way it doesn't get everybody riled up about lag. Because anytime you say that word out there in the public, everybody all of a sudden has all these issues that never complained about it before. So,
and then there's just us talking about it on a public podcast that lot of people on Jericho listen to.
At least this way, I know they're listening.
Well, there is that.
Okay, so I guess I'm going to go ahead and reveal, because if you're in Jericho and you've seen my build at spawn, I'm sure you figured out what I'm building by now. Did you see it yet?
I've seen it.
Since last night?
Yeah, I saw it today.
Or 2 nights ago? Yeah, okay. So it's a church. It's a really cool church.
Lots of interior space, which I'm happy about, and the way the interior is going to be is kind of like the church we go to in real life, so I'm going to base the interior off of it.
That's
and
awesome.
kind of recreate our real life church.
I did notice later in the tutorial, it does do an interior if you want to use that as a guide, little C. But I'm going to let you do all the interior work. I'm doing the outside. I've got most of the walls up and everything, so.
I built something kind of near the church in the back church parking lot. So right behind the church, I built my RV.
Is that what you did that today?
I did that yesterday.
Okay.
Yep. I don't know what I'm gonna sell yet, but I have a few ideas. So if anyone has suggestions of what I should sell in an RV, make sure to get them in on show comments. And yeah, so I just built it because I had to bring it back. I've had an RV for the past 3 seasons, I think. And I had one on season 1. I don't think I had one on season 2. But I know on season 3 I had one. On season 4 I had one. So I had to bring it back for season 5.
You gotta have it. It's just traveling everywhere you go. Another thing in Minecraft. So I've really been enjoying live streaming. We kind of did it last week. I went back and watched it. It was lagging so bad, even later after you left.
The gameplay or the stream itself?
The stream itself, it was basically 1 frame per
That's
20
weird.
seconds kind of thing. It did not pick up all of my stuff.
So
my computer was basically on fire.
Were you just showing some screenshots and going through on a PowerPoint there?
Pretty much. That's what it looked like. It was almost worse than that, little C.
Oh my.
So that's how that went. Now, the other ones haven't gone like that. So we're going to have to figure that out. But it was cool because you made an appearance and showed your snifflet being born, basically, on the live stream. And we were able to do it. My computer's not really capable of doing this. I think if we did it opposite, where you're in control of the stream, I think it would work out very well.
A little bit better. It still would lag a lot because my GPU struggles.
What's funny about it is the first part of it was not, though. The first part where you were on it and talking and everything, it was going pretty well. A little bit of lag, but not too bad. So that's something I'm kind of hoping maybe little C, you and I can do this together more often. I think that was good. And it's nice that we can talk back and forth, kind of like what we do on the podcast, but we can do it in a live stream. I think that could be a lot of fun. Are you up for that? Combining our live streams into one?
I don't like live streaming a lot because I listen to music and I can't play that music on YouTube while I live stream. And I go, yeah, but and maybe not a lot because because switching between the screens, I don't have it set up very well. And there's a lot of stuff I'd have to do to make it work.
That's okay. You can manage to not be quite so lazy for a little while. But I did continue the live stream and I was able to get a couple villagers. I did steal them from somebody. I'm just saying.
Oh, and I know who you stole them from.
I know now.
I went over to who you stole them from to help them with something else.
Yes.
And they're like, man, BS stole my villagers.
Yeah. Was he mad about it?
No.
Okay.
He was sarcastically mad about it.
Right.
Because he watched it on live stream and he's like, I just watched him steal my villagers.
That's hilarious. But what's funny is they are not breeding at all. I cannot get them to breed. Now, you should be able to do the nitwit, right?
Yeah.
That's what I thought.
The thing with villagers is, some reason, if you're like too close to them, they don't want to breed, that I've found. And I had to get like 2 chunks away, I think.
I've been feeding them bread.
Yeah.
I've always used carrots in the past.
I think I
need to get carrots.
I've used a mix of bread, potatoes, and carrots. I just used everything.
But anyways, I did steal 2 villagers from that place. Now, at the time, he did not have any signs up on who was claiming it. And that's one of the rules.
And after that, when I went over to his base, there was a big thing in the sky that had his name.
Yeah, I absolutely see it now. It's hilarious because I had to go that way to get some calcite.
So that is, if you're on an SMP and on Jericho, that's a good thing early game before you can build like walls around your base area. Just put your initials or whatever in the sky. That's what I did. I have a big LC right above my base, and I have a few around the area. It's easier than signs. It's not going to be as missed, especially if you're in a forest or something. People can just see it, and they'll know.
Yeah, and what I did to claim my area right at the beginning, I had tons of animals spawning, so I was killing a lot of sheep. So I just put the wool down because it's brightly colored. Most of it was white. It's very obvious somebody has been here. That's not a natural block to spawn. And I did that all around the area that I kind of wanted to claim. That's how I did it. And of course, I used some signs. I put signs on trees and I still had that tree get stolen from me, but
Are you still
since-
mad about the stolen tree?
No, not really mad. It was returned, so I'm good. But there is a sign on that tree now, so
Just
nobody takes
on
it.
the tree.
It's on the
itself.
tree. Yeah.
What if you want to chop the tree down?
Well, that's my tree. It's just staying now.
You're an interesting person.
It's my tree.
You know, I'm always worried about that when I build custom trees. I'm worried someone might miss, and they're usually like different colored leaves and stuff mixed together, and
It'd
like
probably be me.
fancy stuff, you know, with like fences and stuff going off of it. But I'm still afraid that some goofball is gonna be going around and be like, you know, I could use some wood. This tree totally looks like a natural Minecraft tree. Let me just chop it down here.
Yeah, I definitely could see myself doing it. Oh, they must have had an update or something that I missed. That's a nice feature. Oh, man. Yeah, it's been fun playing Minecraft, getting back in the Minecraft grind. And I was going to play last night. And after the week I've had in real life, I was tired. I just went to bed. So that's where I'm at. Anything else you want to talk about Minecraft?
I built a greenhouse this week.
Was it green?
This was a huge debate. I was on voice call on Jericho. That's been a lot. We've been on voice call a lot. So if you remember Jericho, check that out because there's been people on almost every night on a voice call.
That's awesome.
But it was the debate of, do I use the glass on the roof? Do I make it green? Dye the glass green? Most people said no, but there were a few that said yes. And what's your opinion there, BS? Should the glass in a greenhouse be green?
Well, are you looking for efficiency or aesthetics? Because if you want the plants to grow the best, you don't want any type of tinning at all.
Well, colored glass doesn't tint. Oh, you mean in real life?
In
okay.
real life, so
Yeah, but isn't it in real life? Don't some of them have green wraps to them? Some greenhouses?
Not usually. I think you're just seeing the reflection off all the green plants inside.
That's true, but if you're trying to recreate that in Minecraft, shouldn't you use the reflection? Like, to make it look like it's a reflection with green glass.
Ooh, I see what you're saying there. I don't know. That's
I went with regular
deep
glass,
dish
and
pizza thought.
to have some of it to be green, I used oxidized copper, which that is not fun to have to wait for it to oxidize. That is intense Minecraft gameplay, just sitting there waiting.
And
for
isn't
copper
there
to
a
oxidize.
mechanic with that it's like 4 spaces apart or something and it oxidizes faster?
Yep, gotta have it 4 spaces apart. That
Wow.
makes sense. So I just had copper covering my whole base.
Did it all oxidize for you though?
Yeah.
Okay.
It just took a while.
Did you just AFK it in a boat?
Yeah, I just
Or
was
you're
kind
not
of-
doing that anymore?
I was just running around in circles waiting.
Yeah. I do that with a lot of stuff, actually. I think that's something else I did on that stream that I just thought of. There's a big cave area, like this big hill, and it's kind of hollowed out on the inside. And I went in, I got brave enough, took out all kinds of mobs and lit it up and made that area safe. I kind of want to do maybe some kind of farm, maybe put my iron farm in there. I just thought it'd be cool to have a farm inside a mountain like that. There was a sniper skeleton in there, though. I never did find him. He just kept shooting me and I couldn't see him. They're quite annoying.
They have fully auto sniper rifles. It's not fair.
Yeah, it was crazy.
That shouldn't be a real thing, but Minecraft skeletons somehow have them.
So if you want to see what I'm talking about, all that's on live stream. It is available on our YouTube channel at the Block Party MC. And like I said, I do apologize that it is more like a slideshow than a video for a lot of it, but the audio's good and everything like that. So you can listen and see what's going on mostly. All right, let's get into our real life stuff. People like to know about us and what we've been up to.
Guys, we're really not that interesting.
Well, like I kind of mentioned earlier, super cold temperatures this whole week and last week. Our church actually closed, which I was a little upset about that. I'm not one that thinks church should close. So actually I do another podcast and I ran it a little bit on that podcast. We did end up going to church. You didn't, Little C. You're like, because at that point you weren't dressed ready to go. And so
I woke up, I walk out, and you guys are like Googling local churches that are still open, trying to find one. And I'm still completely groggy, just not awake in my pajamas. And then you're like, okay, we found a church. You want to go? And I'm just like, I don't even know where I am. How did I get into the kitchen? Hold on. I'm not awake enough for this.
Right. And to be fair to you, our church actually decided to close the day before. So you weren't
I already
planning on
had
it
my
at all.
mindset that I was going to wake up and be like, no,
Yeah.
actually, I'm not going to wake up.
Yeah. HolyBookworm and I actually were already discussing. We were actually going to go to my younger brother's church that he attends, and they were supposed to be open. Well, they closed like last minute as we're getting ready to walk out the door to go there. So we start exactly what you said, Googling churches around us and try to find one that was still open. And we did. And we drove there and it was fine. It was great. It was awesome to worship the Lord, with fellow believers and everything, even when it's cold outside. So that was fun. But unfortunately, when Holy Bookworm and I left the church and get into the car, and this is like -10 degrees outside. That is Fahrenheit, by the way.
Yeah, none of that Celsius stuff.
It's super cold and windy. Well, our power steering. We had no power steering in our car. And this is our new to us car that we've bought. I think I've mentioned it a few times, been having issues with it. Thought we had it all fixed. Like it's been great. No oil leaking, nothing. It's been awesome. I go to back out and no power steering, and there was a giant red puddle of power steering fluid under our car in the snow, and you could see it very well. So I had to drive home in this crazy weather with snow blowing and super cold without power steering, which luckily, I've driven cars that didn't have power steering before. I've driven trucks that didn't have power steering.
day.
Yeah, exactly. But it's a little different on modern cars because the steering wheels aren't built the same. Even just the mechanics of it are different. They kind of rely on power steering more. But I was able to safely get us back home. Ended up having the car towed this week. So that's a whole thing. But it sounds like they're going to be able to fix it up for us and get it going. And then Monday came around. I had to leave in the truck. You actually were going with me you did go with me Monday when I left.
Yep.
It took us a while to get out of here.
Yeah, and of course I decided to go with you. It's like -10 out. Yeah, I'm not gonna do that again. If you're like, hey, you want to go trucking when it's that cold? No, I don't.
So you want to say what happened?
So your trailer brakes were frozen. The brakes on the trailer, so the wheels would just get dragged along when you hooked your truck to the trailer and went to drive. The wheels did not turn. The wheels on the bus did not go round and round.
No, they didn't.
Just dragged along. So we had to bang with a hammer on the ice on the, what is it? A drum and brake drum?
Brake drum and the shoes.
And you had to pound on that with a hammer and a screwdriver. So we get 3 of the sets of tires on the trailer to work.
Yeah.
And then there's still one. You're like, okay, I'll drag it out onto the road because we live out on a country road. The road was a bit more clear than your driveway.
Yeah, and sometimes you get enough traction by doing that. It kind of...
With the friction moving, it gets it moving enough.
Right.
Nope, that thing did not want to move. I think we were hitting that single one for like 5-10 minutes trying to get the ice to break off.
And again, a reminder, it's -10 degrees Fahrenheit.
And the road is covered with ice, and you were sitting on the road.
Oh, my tush was definitely frozen. Luckily, I do have heated seats in my truck.
Yeah, when you got into the truck, you're like, I am so glad I have heated seats.
Yes, so I did thaw that.
That was cold.
So we went trucking. We went towards Ohio.
Yeah, towards the load we were going to get.
So we were going to pick up Campbell's soup, actually. Now, if you know anything about liquid and cold temperatures, they don't do well. So the trailer was supposed to be preloaded with soup, right?
Which is already just an annoying load because it's super heavy.
It is super heavy, but that we were going to get that because we had a church meeting Monday night. And
that's an easy load to pick up and still get back for the meeting.
Right, exactly. So I could pick it up, come back home for the day. Well, we get more than halfway there.
Yeah, we're almost there.
We were almost there. And get a message saying, hey, they're going to have to live load you, work you in because they're not going to preload it so the soup doesn't freeze or whatever in the trailer while it's preloaded. Well, I was under the assumption it was going to be preloaded by the time we got there. I've been to this customer many times. I think I've actually ran it on this podcast before about it. I knew I wasn't going to deal with it. So I told the company, I said, never mind, get another driver. I'm not going to pick it up. So we turned back around. We did about 200 miles that day for nothing.
Yeah.
And came back home, and that's my cost of fuel and everything. But it was fun. It's always fun having you in the truck, and you got to help me bang on trailer tires to unlock those and unfreeze those. You get to see some of my actual work that I get to deal with. And I was dealing with that all week long. I did end up leaving Tuesday, had loads all over the place. Everything I picked up was frozen. I had to beat on stuff. The handles that attach the trailer to the truck, that was freezing up, wouldn't release. I couldn't get out from under my trailer. It was just a nightmare all week long. But today I did make it home. Yay! I'll be happy when everything thaws out, for sure.
Okay, BS is done with his ranting. Now I get to rant. So, BS and I both do the church sound for Sunday stuff, and I do a lot more sound around the church for like everything. I'm just the go-to sound tech guy now. But I've been doing it for youth group for a while on Wednesday nights, and this was the first Wednesday night back for actually doing music and stuff for a while. But before, there was actually a funeral that was in the like gym that's next to the youth group room. So we had to move a lot of the mics and the keyboard, and a lot of the sound stuff had to be moved out of that room and then put back. I didn't take it out of the room, someone else did, but I had to put it all back. And I'm like, okay, at least I'm the tech guy. So I got there extra early on Wednesday because it was already back and everything after the event that it was needed for. But I thought I put it back close enough that it'd work. 2 out of 3 mics were just not wanting to work, and I'm pretty sure one of the little box things that's like it's called a snake. And most audio people will kind of have an idea. But yeah, I think that just completely just doesn't want to work now. So we had to rig some stuff. There were cables going all across the floor that night, but we got it to work. I got it to work.
Okay, so
But a lot of the audio stuff was messed up, and it's been bothering me now because I still have to try to figure out why it wasn't working the proper way.
So you basically want to get in the church and just fix it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I understand that. Once something's in my mind, I can't let it go. For instance, we had a player coming back from, I think, season 2, major part of season 2 of Jericho, finally came back. Well, his username, his gamer tag, he thought he knew it, and he was very close. That's what I thought it was on my friends list and everything. Well, it had 3 extra numbers that had to be added to it for him to be added to the allow list. And so it kept saying, you're not invited to the server. So it was driving me nuts all week. It took like 3 or 4 days. And I just now figured it out today, got him going again with that. So I understand what you're feeling when you have a problem like that and something's not going quite right. It drives you insane until you can get it fixed. Which I think one of our live listeners here, Advisory Labs, and a player from Jericho SMP, he's probably was feeling that with his kelp farm. He was messaging me the other day about that. And so I feel your pain on trying to figure something out.
Yeah, his kelp farm, I've been helping him. We're trying to make a mega kelp farm to just have all the kelp, to have tons of fuel for furnaces and bone meal. And once we get auto crafters, we can make it even more efficient with the fuel for furnaces. So we built one kelp farm, working fine. He went and finished building the second kelp farm to attach to the system, and it just doesn't work. You can't have both running at the same time. Only one works at one time.
Now, this is a fine line of breaking our rules on Jericho or not.
It is a zero-tick kelp farm. Is that duplicating? No, it's just suggesting to the kelp that it grows really quickly.
Yeah, and I kind of have to allow it because we do allow, let's say,
zero-tick gold farms,
automatic fish farms,
and fish farms,
the ticking gold farms, all that.
We allow most legit seeming redstone farms because, yeah.
I will tell you, if you do have one of these farms and stuff, make sure you have a way to shut it off so it's not lagging out the server, especially
and just
when you're
for
not
you
using
because
it.
it'll break if you log out sometimes.
Yeah, absolutely. So make sure you have an off switch. Be responsible with it.
So
All
I
that.
built a kelp farm in my base. I maybe had it running for like 10 minutes, and I have all of it just going into composters, and I got a full single chest of bone meal in 10 minutes.
That is a lot of bone meal.
I need more.
I always used cactus farms
Yep.
for getting bone meal.
Now my plan is to make an even bigger kelp farm once we get the auto crafters, so then it can run straight into my super smelter, which I started building today.
Yeah.
64 furnaces.
Wow.
Although I'm going to upgrade it to 128.
Ooh.
Because for the past 4 seasons, I've had a 64 furnace super smelter.
It's time to get bigger.
I need more. And
always need more.
Once I get a kelp farm with infinite fuel.
All right, well, that pretty much sums up our past week. But what has Mojang been up to?
They actually did something this week. The past week in Minecraft. All info from Minecraft.net. Who would have guessed?
Minecraft Java. We have a snapshot. We haven't had a snapshot in like over a month.
The Java team's actually working now?
Apparently they are. So it's snapshot 24W03A. Came out Wednesday, January 17th, 2024. The things in the experimental update 1.21. Of course, you need that. It says, please note, in order to try these new features, you must turn on the update 1.21 experimental data pack. Changes here. Breeze now deflects all projectiles. Deflected projectiles now deflect in the direction of the shooter. So I think that's what we were talking about on last week's beta and preview. We got into that a little bit. Trade rebalance. Please note, in order to try these new features, you must turn on the trade rebalance experiment data pack.
I find it interesting they're releasing these as data packs, but I think I know why. It's the same reason you see the memes, Minecraft modders adding what Mojang would take 3 years to add in a day. It's because it's easier to make a data pack or a mod than it is to actually hard code it into the actual game launcher. Because they make the data packs and they can just add that onto the launcher and not really have to change it much.
Right.
And have it in the data pack and then figure out a way to add it into the game.
Yeah, and then they can make it better as they go. Changes. Villagers who buy armor now ignore durability and can buy damaged armor. That's kind of cool. So your villagers can buy damaged armor?
Time to abuse this.
This could be
I think that's
helpful.
fair.
Now, getting into the stable stuff, so it doesn't require the data packs to be turned on, all that. But it is still a snapshot. It's not in the actual game, so don't get that confused. Changes here. Armadillos now also spawn in Badlands.
Yay, more armadillos.
I'm going to have armadillos all around my base in Jericho when they come out.
I am just going to make an army of them.
Spiders and cave spiders will run away from armadillos, not in a rolled up state. Adjusted the texture of the wolf collar layer to be more consistent with the new wolf armor. The data pack version is now 28. The resource pack version is now 24. The size of the spawn chunks changed from radius 10, 19 by 19 entity ticking chunks, to a radius 2, 3 by 3 entity ticking chunks. This was done to reduce memory usage, loading times, and CPU usage. So this is really interesting because I know this is a big deal on Java about your spawn chunks being loaded in.
Yeah.
And it's way smaller now.
Yeah, I'm not a fan of that. But the thing reducing memory usage and reducing CPU usage, that's funny because the one thing that I haven't upgraded in my computer is the GPU. But no, they make the CPU, which I have an amazing CPU. And I have 32 gigabytes of RAM. No, they optimize those things that I have plenty to spare. Just to tell how much of a CPU and RAM I have, I had Java 1.20.4 open with a world in the background while playing on Jericho and not even noticing.
Yeah, you have an insane CPU now, though.
And RAM, which helps with having multiple things open like that.
All right, let's keep going here. We opted to not fully remove spawn chunks to allow players who currently utilize this functionality to continue to do so. Yeah, but it's going to break a lot of
Oh, yeah.
people's stuff.
I know a lot of the long-term willed people have these massive farms.
Now, that is a misconception. A lot of people see Java players and they know about the spawn chunks, and then they get on Jericho or Bedrock Edition and they assume those are loaded all the time too, but they're really not. It's only loading the areas right around you, right around a player, basically.
Is there such thing? I know there is on Java, but is there such thing as chunk loaders on Bedrock?
There are commands to load and keep chunks loaded.
Is there, because I know on Java you can do it vanilla with redstone things.
I'm not 100% sure on that. I think I've seen videos before, but I don't know. Maybe with redstone
It sounds like it'd be
things, but
sketchy on a server like Jericho.
I don't think it would work, especially since right now our server, we have it restarting every 3 hours, which seems excessive, but
It does seem excessive when some of our players are making 16-hour gaming sessions on Jericho. They're like, man, it's restarting every 3 minutes, it seems.
But for most players in general, you know, here's another added benefit that I didn't think about. It keeps the AFK players a little more in line.
No, it just makes their sleep schedules a lot worse. They just have to set an alarm to wake up every 3 hours, get out of bed.
Well, it just
Go
makes them
back,
think about
log on to the
Jericho more
server.
often, which is a good thing. All right. They added a new game rule, spawn chunk radius, to set the size of the spawn chunks.
Oh, that's interesting.
So you can still set them.
So you can just do that for your farms.
Possible values are 0 to 32, where 0 completely disables the spawn chunks and 10 is equivalent to the functionality before this change. So you can go even further now. So that's a crazy.
Oh, great. Now we're just going to watch them really abuse it on
Over
Java.
3 times the amount. Default value is 2, equivalent to 3 by 3 entity ticking chunks. And of course, there's many more things on there that you can always check the change logs for. Moving on to Minecraft Bedrock Beta /preview 1.20.60.26 came out Thursday, January 18th, 2024. And these are all, this isn't any experimental stuff too much here. Some changes here: command /me/say/title/tell, reducing max length for output message to 512 characters, and then the command /kill, reducing max length for reason message to 512 characters. That's interesting that they're making a limit on that. I'm not sure what the reasoning would be. I hope this doesn't break some of the add-ons some people have made and stuff. I know none of ours use that many characters, but fixes here made various performance and stability improvements, fixed an issue with multiplayer sessions sometimes not appearing in available LAN games. I wonder if that's part of the problem we've had with some of our players not seeing it.
That's what I was thinking, because for all of our console players, if you have to use this mobile app that makes the server appear as a LAN game, so I think that bug might have, I don't know though, because wasn't this on a preview? Yeah, this was more on a beta
This is
preview.
a preview, but this is including fixes they do for the main game. It's just not released in the main game yet. So it very well could be the same problem we're having. So hopefully we'll get the actual release soon on something including that. And then also on Thursday, January 18th, 2024, their second snapshot of Java Edition came out for the week. And this is 24, which means 2024. W, which means week. 03, third week of 2024. And it's B.
Oh my gosh, I never knew those numbers actually meant something.
So that is the second Java of the third week of 2024. And of course, we have experimental update 1.21 stuff. You have to have the experimental data pack. Changes: updated the model texture and animation of the wind charge projectile to give it a more dynamic look and feel. Okay, that's all that was in that you have to have the data pack for. And the stable stuff, fixes here: attempting to copy a copy of a copy book in a crafter behaves incorrectly. These are all the problems, by the way. Some trial spawners and trial chambers spawn mobs without persistence. The game crashes when opening the Configure Realms menu. The hitboxes of magma cubes are too large, and items on top of soul sand or mud will be rendered black. All right, so those were the updates. It's nice to have the snapshots back. So I find it kind of funny that the Bedrock preview last week included some of the stuff that didn't come out till this week on the snapshot for Java. So it seems like Bedrock's getting a lot of stuff done even before Java sometimes. I'm sure they're kind of working together. It's just a matter of when they actually release it to the public. But this is a good sign that they're working together. Things should come out at the same time. Parity should be getting closer and closer. These are all good things. Anything in particular that stood out to you on those, Little C?
Not really, but I think they're working on a lot of things that we don't really notice until we actually play the game. And then we're like, oh, that's a lot better.
That's right. I like to focus on the things in the actual releases more.
Yeah. The snapshots are kind of just like, I don't want to focus on it too much.
Right.
But the actual releases, I'm like, yeah, here we go.
It is nice to see that they're working, and it keeps us motivated to know that they're still updating the game and fixing some of these problems. Like we said, that land game problem. Hopefully that fixes our issues there. All right, Little C, it's been a great show, but
now it's time for
listener questions.
Our first question comes from Guestoy Games. My question is, do you have any fun random facts that would never be in a regular conversation unless you bring it up, such as some really big word have human-like teeth? That's like his example.
Do you want me to
try to pronounce this?
Chromatothus sulcus. I think I'm close enough. Okay. I have no idea.
I have no idea.
I do know that big old fancy word you're using there is a type of squid. I know that much.
Good. I didn't know that.
So there's my random fact.
My random fact is the rock singer Ozzy Osbourne from like the 80s is when he was really big, was in a band Black Sabbath, but his wife Sharon was the daughter of the manager of Black Sabbath early on.
Okay.
Random fact.
There you go.
Never would come up in conversation. But there you go.
I did notice on my show notes, I did not change your answer on that.
Yeah, I had to I noticed that before we got into this segment. I go in, copy, paste.
Good save. Nobody will ever know.
Besides now that we're talking about it for a few minutes.
All right. Thank you for that listener question, Guestoy Games. Next question comes from Advisory Labs. Oh, he's going back to our quest.
This is less of a question. We have returned to the great Advisory Labs quest.
All right. So for me, you follow the road west. No cars pass by. The road is deserted. You come across a small cowboy hat. Are you going to put hat in pocket, put hat on little G, wear hat yourself, or ignore and continue west?
This is a tough decision. What is Bearded Sloth going to do?
Well, I'm definitely going to put the hat on. I love wearing cowboy hats.
You don't know who's been in that hat.
I don't care.
You don't know whose head.
If it's a cowboy hat, I'm putting it on my head. All right. And little C here, you follow the road east. No cars pass by. The road is deserted. Little G gets an ominous feeling. Do you console little G and continue east? Tell little G to stop being a baby and continue east. Get scared with little G and turn back west. Console little G and turn back west. And by the way, a little G is little goat,
which is a reference to my live streams. I have a goat plushie, and everyone calls him Little G, and everyone thinks he's the greatest thing ever. All right, he is the greatest of all time.
So what are you going to do, Little C?
This is tough. I think, hey, Little G, what do you think I should do? Yeah, I mean, we could do that. Yeah, but if we do that, it's not going to end well. Okay, well, I consoled Little G, so let's continue east.
There you go. You consoled little G and continue east. All right. Thank you for those. Those are great questions. So the quest, by the way, we do 2 listener questions a week per show. We have several lined up. I'd love to have a whole bunch lined up.
This quest is becoming a very large side quest.
It is a big side quest for sure. But it's fun. Remember, your listener questions can be Minecraft related or not. Either one works for us. Your show comments should be Minecraft related. That's what we want those to be. You can email either one. Make sure you put in the heading whether it's a comment or a question, or maybe you're just wanting to talk to us. That's fine too. That email is contact@theblockpartymc.com.
Now it's time for everyone's favorite part of the show, and the only reason anyone's listening this far, Holy Bookworm's Joke of the Week.
Where do horses live?
In neighborhoods.
I'm sorry. I saw this come across the server this week in the chat, and I just cringed at this one. This one, I think it's a little too far.
I like this one, Holy Bookworm, because it made BS cringe. Keep it up.
All right. Thank you, Holy Bookworm, for those jokes, I guess. Hope you guys are enjoying the show. Hope you're enjoying Holy Bookworm's Noob Corner. You definitely got to check that out. That's a nice little bonus show we give you midweek there. You can help support us by subscribing to the podcast. Find the link in the description to subscribe. It truly helps us out and is super appreciated. Best of all, though, you'll get access to more of us. Who doesn't want more of us? All of the after hours shows we've done, and all of the episodes of the Block Party, including the first 49. Help us get the word out about the Block Party podcast by telling everyone about the show, even that snowman that's completely frozen. 2. Visit theblockpartymc.com.
We want to hear from you. We love your comments and questions. Make sure to join the Discord or email us at contact@theblockpartymc.com.
Thank you for being here. We truly appreciate it. Make sure to tell everyone about the Block Party, a Minecraft podcast. I'm Bearded Sloth, and now I gotta eat my coffee.
And I'm Little C. Bye-bye!